Over the last 4 years, Springfield has seen its small population grow by over 20%, driven almost entirely by immigrants.
In just a few short years, once peaceful towns across the country are being completely transformed by a surge of immigration. Communities are feeling the pressure: overcrowded schools, overwhelmed hospitals, and rising crime rates that have left residents on edge. Tensions are boiling over as people watch their hometowns change beyond recognition. How much more can these places take before they reach a breaking point?
But we're saying anywhere between 15 and 20,000 immigrants is what we're seeing within our community.
In a town of what population?
60,000.
You wouldn't believe what's been happening in Springfield, Ohio lately. This small town, which was once quiet and close-knit, has been completely overwhelmed by an influx of Haitian immigrants. For years, Springfield had a population of less than 60,000 people, and it was one of those typical small American towns where everyone knew each other. But in the last few years, everything has changed. Since 2018, over 15,000 Haitian immigrants have settled in Springfield, and the town just isn't able to handle it.
Hi, good morning, Bill. Over the last 4 years, at least 15,000 Haitians have come here to the small city, Springfield, Ohio, and it has rapidly and dramatically increased the population.
Think about it. An increase of 15,000 people in such a short time is no small thing, especially for a place that was already struggling with resources. Springfield's infrastructure just wasn't built for this. Hospitals and clinics are now overcrowded, and there aren't enough doctors, nurses, or translators to help the growing immigrant population. A lot of these new arrivals need medical care because they come from a country with poor health care. Governor Mike DeWine even acknowledged that many of the immigrants haven't been vaccinated for basic things we take for granted, which is a serious concern for community health.
The city, our safety forces, our hospitals, our schools. Springfield is a close community and has a big heart, but at the same point, we've had this influx that has taxed all these services.
The schools are another major issue. With so many kids suddenly joining the system, teachers are completely overwhelmed. Springfield schools, which already had limited resources, are now dealing with a massive rise in non-English speaking students, mostly Haitian children who need ESL programs. Imagine trying to teach a class where a significant portion of the students can't even understand the language. Teachers are stretched thin and classrooms are overcrowded. It's not just about educating kids anymore. It's about basic communication, and the schools just aren't equipped for it.
We hit a record high for homicides, but in terms of shooting victims, year to date, we're down roughly 30% this year compared to last year. Biggest things we are seeing are still auto thefts involving Kia and Hyundais, which really spike our numbers.
And it doesn't stop there. Law enforcement in Springfield has also been pushed to its limits. There's been a noticeable increase in crime, and locals are blaming it on the Haitian immigrants. The FBI reported that Springfield saw a 142% rise in crime between 2019 and 2022. And while no one wants to say it out loud, many believe this surge is directly tied to the influx of immigrants.
For years, we've lost people, but you hope somebody else will come and take their place. That hasn't happened here.
Until now.
Because there are folks from Haiti who are coming to church.
People in Springfield are angry, and it's hard not to understand why. They've watched their town, once manageable and familiar, become overwhelmed by an immigration crisis that no one seems prepared to deal with. The city is struggling just to keep up, and as much as the media and government try to downplay the situation, the people living in Springfield feel abandoned. The promise of America as a land of opportunity has turned into a nightmare for both the immigrants and the residents. Everyone is fighting for limited resources, and the town is being torn apart in the process.
If you were to come to our town, you would find people that actually care about the residents here, care about folks that actually are coming into the community, and we want to make sure they're taken care of. We've just been overwhelmed with it.
You know, it's no secret that Springfield, Ohio has been hit hard by the sudden influx of Haitian immigrants, and it's really starting to show. Public resources that were already stretched thin are now completely overwhelmed. The healthcare system, the schools, and even law enforcement, none of them can keep up with the demands that have come with this population boom.
What that also means is that the number of these individuals, we don't know, but the number of these individuals who are not vaccinated from things that we take for granted in this country is a high number and very, very significant.
Let's talk about healthcare. Springfield wasn't exactly known for having a top-tier healthcare system to begin with, and now it's completely swamped. You have thousands of new immigrants coming in, many of them in desperate need of medical attention. They're coming from a country like Haiti, where healthcare has been almost non-existent due to political unrest and natural disasters. A lot of them haven't been vaccinated for common illnesses, which is a ticking time bomb for community health. The clinics and hospitals in town are packed, and to make matters worse, there aren't enough translators available to communicate with these new patients. Can you imagine the chaos? Doctors and nurses can't even explain treatments or diagnoses properly, and people are falling through the cracks. Governor DeWine has thrown a little money towards the problem, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what's needed. The schools are another mess. Picture this: Springfield's classrooms are suddenly flooded with Haitian children who don't speak a word of English. The schools are scrambling to find enough ESL, English as a second language, teachers, but there just aren't enough to go around. The number of students needing language support has quadrupled in just a few years, and the schools are buckling under the pressure. Teachers are stretched way too thin, trying to manage their regular classes while also providing extra attention to the new students who need help learning English. The result? Overcrowded classrooms where nobody gets the attention they need, and it's creating a real divide between the local kids and the new arrivals. It's not fair to anyone. The system just can't handle it. Law enforcement is dealing with its own set of problems. With the rapid rise in population, there's been an increase in crime, and it's not something people are willing to brush off anymore. Whether it's fair or not, there's a growing sense of unease in the community. Petty crimes, thefts, and even violent incidents have been on the rise. Tensions between locals and immigrants are flaring up, and the police are finding it harder and harder to keep things under control. There just aren't enough officers to handle the growing demands, and it's causing a lot of unrest in the community.
After an unlicensed Haitian driver hit a school bus in August of 2023, injuring about 24 children and killing a young boy, 11-year-old Aiden Clark. On Tuesday, Aiden's father begged the public to not use his son's death as a talking point over immigration.
And then there's the traffic problem, which has gotten completely out of hand. Many of these immigrants aren't familiar with U.S. traffic laws, and it's led to some serious accidents. You probably heard about that horrible school bus crash in 2023. An unlicensed Haitian driver collided with a bus full of kids, injuring dozens and killing an 11-year-old boy named Aiden Clark. It was a tragedy that shook the whole town. That accident became a flashpoint for local frustrations, with people saying that not enough is being done to ensure that these new arrivals understand the rules of the road. Unlicensed drivers and reckless driving have become a huge concern, and it's making people feel unsafe in their neighborhoods.
What's happening there is horrible. You have a beautiful community, 52,000 people, and about 30,000 people were put into that community rapidly, and the community is so nice and they want to be so politically correct. You have to remove the people. We cannot destroy our country.
You know, one of the biggest issues people are talking about in Springfield is the rise in crime ever since the wave of Haitian immigrants started arriving. It's something you can't ignore, and it's making people feel like their town isn't as safe as it used to be. The locals are worried, and honestly, with everything that's been happening, who can blame them? It's not just the violent crimes, but also reckless driving and property theft that have turned this once peaceful place into a town constantly on edge. I know no one wants to point fingers directly, but the correlation is hard to ignore. People are linking this crime surge to the rapid population growth, especially since many of the crimes are happening in areas where Haitian immigrants have settled. The police are already overwhelmed, and trying to manage the new immigrant population has made things even harder. Property crime has also become a major problem. There have been more reports of theft, vandalism, and burglaries in neighborhoods that never had to deal with this kind of thing before. People are locking their doors, installing security cameras, and generally feeling on edge in a way they didn't a few years ago. And when you talk to the locals, they'll tell you they believe this rise in crime is directly linked to the influx of immigrants. Whether it's opportunistic theft or just a breakdown in community trust, things have changed, and not for the better. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.